Brittany Thompson gripped McKenna's hand so tightly her knuckles turned white as they stepped through the double doors of the grand ballroom at the downtown Marriott. The annual holiday party for Apex marketing was in full swing. Crystal chandeliers glittering overhead, waiters gliding with trays of champagne, laughter echoing off marble walls. Everyone was dressed to impress. Sequin dresses, tailored suits, fake smiles hiding office rivalries. Brittany had spent 3 hours perfecting her own look at the salon she managed. But tonight wasn't about her blowouts or balayage. Tonight was about finally being honest. McKenna Hayes looked stunning in the deep red gown Brittany had picked out 2 weeks earlier during a rare afternoon off. The fabric hugged her curves perfectly, her blonde waves cascading over one shoulder. She squeezed Brittany's fingers back, a small nervous smile playing on her lips. "You sure about this, babe? We can still turn around. Pretend I'm just your +1 friend from college." Brittany shook her head, jaw set. "No. We've been together 2 years. I'm done hiding you like some dirty secret. These people see me every day. They deserve to know who I really am, who we really are." They moved deeper into the crowd. Colleagues waved, some double-taking at the sight of Brittany with a woman on her arm instead of arriving solo like she had for the past 5 years. Brittany's stomach twisted every time someone stared a second too long, but she lifted her chin higher. She was the salon's creative director now, the one who'd turned the struggling downtown location into the most booked spot in the city. She had earned her place here. They found a high-top table near the dance floor. McKenna ordered sparkling water. Brittany downed half a flute of champagne in one go. "Relax," McKenna whispered, brushing a strand of dark hair from Brittany's face. "You've got this." That's when Victoria Langford appeared. Victoria, the regional director, strode over like she owned the room, which, technically, she kind of did. 52 sharp cheekbones, silver-streaked hair pulled into a flawless chignon, always in power red lipstick. She had mentored Brittany since day one, pushed her for promotions, even invited her to family barbecues. Victoria stopped short when she saw McKenna's hand resting casually on Brittany's lower back. "Brittany," Victoria said, voice smooth but edged. "You brought a guest. How lovely." Her eyes flicked to McKenna then back. "Introduce us." Brittany swallowed. "Victoria, this is McKenna Hayes. My girlfriend." The word landed like a stone in still water. Victoria's smile froze. For a heartbeat nothing happened. Then she laughed. A short brittle sound. "Girlfriend. Right. Well, that's modern of you." McKenna's fingers tightened on Brittany's waist. Brittany felt heat crawl up her neck. "We've been together for 2 years, she said, forcing steadiness into her voice. "I wanted you to meet her. Meet the person who makes me happy." Victoria tilted her head, studying them like specimens. Happy. Interesting choice of words. She glanced around, making sure nearby clusters of employees were listening. "You know, Brittany, when I hired you, I saw potential. Drive. Professionalism. I assumed you understood the image we project here at Apex. Clients, partners, they notice things." Brittany's pulse hammered. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying discretion matters. Some of our biggest accounts are conservative. Family values, traditional partnerships. You bringing your friend here tonight sends a message. One I'm not sure we're prepared to stand behind publicly." McKenna stepped forward slightly. "Her name is McKenna. And she's not just a friend." Victoria ignored her, eyes locked on Brittany. "Think about your team. The stylists look up to you. The receptionists, the interns. What example are you setting?" Brittany felt the room shrink. Faces turned their way, curious, judgmental, amused. Someone whispered. Someone else stifled a laugh. "I thought you supported me," Brittany said quietly. "All those talks about diversity, inclusion." "Diversity has limits when it affects the bottom line," Victoria cut in. "You want to live your truth? Fine. But don't expect the company to pay for the fallout." Tears stung Brittany's eyes. She blinked hard. "So what? You're telling me to hide her? Or quit?" Victoria shrugged one elegant shoulder. "I'm telling you to consider your priorities. Career or whatever this is." She gestured vaguely at McKenna. "Choice is yours." Then she turned and walked away, heels clicking like gunfire on marble. Brittany stood frozen. McKenna reached for her, but Brittany jerked away, chest heaving. The tears came fast now, hot and humiliating. She pushed through the crowd, ignoring calls of her name, until she reached the hallway outside the ballroom. She slid down the wall, knees to chest, sobbing into her hands. McKenna found her minutes later, crouching beside her. "Britt, look at me." Brittany shook her head. "She humiliated me. In front of everyone. And I just stood there." "You stood up for us," McKenna said softly. "That's what matters." But Brittany couldn't hear it. All she could feel was the weight of every eye that had watched her break. Back inside, the party continued without them. Laughter swelled again. Champagne flowed. And Brittany realized the worst part. No one followed them out. No one came to check if she was okay. The drive home was silent except for the hum of the engine and the occasional sniffle from Brittany. McKenna kept one hand on the wheel, the other resting palm up on the center console. An invitation Brittany couldn't bring herself to take. Streetlights flashed across their faces in rhythmic bursts. When they pulled into the driveway of their small craftsman bungalow in Capitol Hill, Brittany didn't move. She stared at the dashboard like it held answers. McKenna turned off the car. "Talk to me." Brittany's voice cracked. "I thought she respected me. I thought. I don't know. That being good at my job would be enough." "It should be," McKenna said. "But some people only respect you as long as you fit their box." Brittany finally looked at her. McKenna's eyes were red-rimmed too, but steady. "You didn't deserve that. None of it." "I know," Brittany whispered. "But it still happened. And now everyone at work knows. Tomorrow they're going to talk. Whisper. Judge. Let them." McKenna unbuckled her seatbelt and shifted to face her fully. "You've spent years proving you're the best. Your numbers don't lie. Your clients don't care who you love. They care that you make them look good." Brittany gave a bitter laugh. "Clients might not. But Victoria does. And she controls my future." They sat there until the car cooled, engine ticking. Eventually McKenna got out, came around and opened Brittany's door. She held out her hand. This time Brittany took it. Inside they changed into sweats without speaking. McKenna made tea, chamomile, the way Brittany liked it when she was unraveling. They curled up on the couch under the same blanket they'd bought on their first weekend getaway. Brittany sipped, then set the mug down. "I keep replaying it. The way she said whatever this is. Like we're nothing." McKenna traced circles on Brittany's knee. "She's scared. People like her always are when someone refuses to play pretend." "But what if she's right? What if this hurts my career?" "Then we fight it," McKenna said. "Or we leave. There are other salons. Other companies." Brittany stared into her tea. "I don't want to leave. I built that place. The team, the vibe, it's mine." "Then stay and make them deal with it." Brittany leaned her head on McKenna's shoulder. "I love you. You know that, right?" McKenna kissed her temple. "I know. And I love you enough to let you decide what comes next." They fell asleep like that, tangled together, but Brittany's mind wouldn't quiet. She dreamed of Victoria's face, of the ballroom lights turning into spotlights, of every colleague turning their backs. Monday morning arrived too soon. Brittany walked into the salon at 7 sharp, coffee in hand, smile plastered on. The stylists were already buzzing, chairs spinning, blow-dryers humming. But the energy shifted the second she stepped through the door. "Hey Britt," called Jenna, her lead colorist. "You okay? We heard. About the party." Brittany's stomach dropped. "Heard what?" Jenna hesitated. "Victoria kind of mentioned it in the group chat. Said you brought a date and things got awkward. People are talking." Brittany forced a laugh. "Yeah, awkward is one word for it." She headed to her station, but the whispers followed. By noon, 3 clients had canceled last-minute appointments. Coincidence, maybe. Or maybe not. At lunch, Brittany locked herself in the back office and scrolled through the company Slack. A new channel had appeared overnight, Apex Values. Someone anonymous had posted an article about maintaining professional boundaries in personal life. Comments poured in. Most neutral. A few not. One read, "Some people forget the workplace isn't a dating app." Another, "If she wants special treatment, Maybe she should start her own inclusive salon. Brittany closed the app, hands shaking. That afternoon Victoria called her into a private meeting room upstairs. "Sit," Victoria said without looking up from her laptop. Brittany sat. Victoria closed the screen. "I heard there was fallout from Saturday." "You mean the fallout you created?" Victoria sighed like a disappointed parent. "I was direct. You needed to hear it. You humiliated me. I protected the brand." Victoria leaned forward. "Look, Brittany, you're talented. I don't want to lose you. But there are expectations. Clients have asked questions. The board noticed the dip in bookings today." Brittany's throat tightened. "Because of me? Because of perception?" Victoria softened her tone. "Take some time. A leave of absence. Keep a low profile. When things cool down, we can talk promotion again." Brittany stared. "You're suspending me? Voluntary leave. Paid. Consider it a gift." Brittany stood. "No. I'm not hiding." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Then you're making a choice." Brittany walked out without another word. She drove straight home, tears blurring the road. McKenna was waiting on the porch, arms open. Brittany collapsed into them. "They want me gone," she sobbed. "Or invisible." McKenna held her tighter. "Then maybe it's time we stop asking for their permission to exist." The next week blurred into damage control. Brittany returned to work because staying home felt like surrender. She smiled through gritted teeth, booked clients back to back, ignored the sidelong glances. But the tension was palpable. Appointments kept canceling. A major corporate client pulled their quarterly team styling contract, citing scheduling conflicts. Friday afternoon, Victoria summoned her again. This time the meeting room felt colder. Victoria had HR sitting in, Marla, a mousy woman who never made eye contact. "Brittany," Victoria began, "we've reviewed recent performance metrics. Bookings are down 15% since the party. Client feedback mentions discomfort." Brittany laughed once sharp. "Discomfort? With what?" "My haircut skills." "With the optics," Marla interjected softly. "We have to protect the business." Brittany looked between them. "So you're firing me?" Victoria shook her head. "We're offering severance and a neutral reference if you resign quietly." Brittany stood so fast the chair scraped. "No. If you want me gone, do it. Fire me. Make it official." Victoria exchanged a glance with Marla. "If that's what you want." "It is." Victoria nodded once. "Then you're terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you to collect your things." Brittany walked out with her head high, but inside she was shattering. She packed her station in silence while colleagues watched, some sympathetic, most avoiding her eyes. Jenna hugged her quickly. "This is bullshit," she whispered. "I'll call you later." Brittany nodded, throat too tight to speak. Outside rain poured. She stood under the awning, box of belongings getting soaked, until McKenna pulled up in their old Jeep. McKenna got out, took the box without a word, and pulled Brittany into the passenger seat. They drove in silence for blocks. Then McKenna said, "I'm proud of you." Brittany stared out the window. "I just lost everything I worked for." "No," McKenna said. "You lost a job that never deserved you." That night Brittany drank too much wine, and cried until her eyes swelled. McKenna held her, murmuring reassurances, but the damage was done. Brittany felt exposed, raw, foolish for ever believing she could have both love and success. The following days brought a strange quiet. No more Slack notifications. No more early mornings rushing to open the salon. Brittany slept late, stared at ceilings, scrolled job listings half-heartedly. McKenna tried to keep things normal, cooking dinners, suggesting walks, gently pushing her to talk. But Brittany withdrew. Guilt gnawed at her. Had she been selfish? Had bringing McKenna been an act of pride instead of love? One evening McKenna found her on the back porch, staring at nothing. "You're punishing yourself," McKenna said quietly. Brittany didn't answer. McKenna sat beside her. "You didn't do anything wrong." "I dragged you into it," Brittany muttered. "You warned me." "I wanted to go. I wanted to stand beside you." Brittany finally looked at her. "And now?" Now I'm unemployed, humiliated, and you're stuck with the fallout. McKenna took her hand. I'm not stuck. I'm choosing. Brittany pulled away. Maybe you shouldn't. The words hung between them like smoke. McKenna's face crumpled for a second before she steadied it. Is that what you want? To push me away because it's easier? Brittany stood. I don't know what I want anymore. She walked inside, leaving McKenna alone on the porch. That night they slept in separate rooms for the first time in 2 years. Weeks passed in a haze of applications, rejections, and silence at home. Brittany landed a few freelance gigs, private clients, weddings, but nothing steady. Money tightened. Arguments flared over small things. Dishes, bills, who forgot to buy milk. McKenna stayed patient longer than most would have. But patience has limits. One Saturday morning Brittany woke to find McKenna packing a duffel bag. Brittany sat up. What are you doing? McKenna didn't look at her. I'm going to stay with Sarah for a while. Brittany's heart lurched. Why? Because I can't keep watching you destroy yourself and blame me for it. I don't blame you. You do. McKenna zipped the bag. Every time you look at me, I see guilt. Like loving me cost you everything. Brittany stood. That's not fair. Isn't it? McKenna finally met her eyes. You chose to bring me to that party. You chose to stand up to Victoria. And now you're punishing both of us for it. Brittany's voice broke. I lost my job because of who I am. Because of us. No, McKenna said. You lost it because of bigots. And instead of fighting back, you're retreating. You're letting them win. Brittany sank onto the bed. I don't know how to fight anymore. McKenna knelt in front of her. Then let me help. Or let me go. But stop this half-life. Tears slipped down Brittany's cheeks. I don't want to lose you too. Then stop pushing. They sat like that for a long time. Eventually McKenna set the bag down. They really talked for hours. About fear. About shame. About the future. By evening they were exhausted but clearer. McKenna canceled her stay at Sarah's. They ordered takeout, ate on the couch, and fell asleep holding each other. But clarity didn't fix everything. Brittany started therapy. Once a week, virtual sessions with a queer-affirming counselor named Dr. Ellis. She cried through the first 3 appointments, unraveling years of internalized pressure to be perfect, to never rock the boat. McKenna took on extra shifts at her graphic design job to cover bills. She never complained, but Brittany saw the exhaustion in her eyes. One night Brittany came home to find McKenna asleep on the couch, laptop still open to a job board. Brittany closed it gently, covered her with a blanket, and sat on the floor watching her sleep. She realized then how much she'd taken for granted, how much McKenna had carried. The next day Brittany applied to every salon within 50 miles. She swallowed pride and asked former clients for referrals. Slowly bookings trickled in. A pop-up event here, a bridal party there. Then came an email that changed everything. From Elena Vasquez, owner, Lumiere Salon. Subject, opportunity. Brittany, I've followed your work for years. Heard about what happened at Apex. Their loss. I'm opening a new flagship location in Belltown. Inclusive, progressive, no tolerance for discrimination. I want you to run it. Creative director, full team control, equity stake if it performs. Interview next week? Brittany stared at the screen for 10 minutes before showing McKenna. McKenna read it, then pulled Brittany into a fierce hug. You did it. Not yet, Brittany said. But hope flickered for the first time in months. The interview at Lumiere felt like stepping into sunlight after a long storm. Elena Vasquez was everything Victoria wasn't. Warm, direct, unapologetically queer. She greeted Brittany with a firm handshake and no judgment. They talked for 2 hours. Elena shared her own coming-out story, her battles with investors who wanted safe branding. I built this place so people like us don't have to choose between love and livelihood, she said. Brittany got the job. The first month was chaos, hiring, training, launching. Brittany threw herself into it, channeling every ounce of hurt into creation. McKenna helped design the branding, turning the space into something modern yet welcoming. Opening night was packed. Champagne, music, former clients showing up in solidarity. Jenna came too, hugging Brittany tight. Told you they'd regret it. Victoria never appeared, but word spread. Apex lost more stylists in the following months, some quietly, some loudly citing toxic environment. Brittany's new team thrived. No whispers. No sidelong glances. Just work, laughter, support. At home, things healed slowly. Brittany and McKenna rebuilt trust brick by brick. Date nights returned. Inside jokes. Touches that lingered. One evening, 6 months after the party, they sat on their porch watching the sunset. McKenna leaned against Brittany. You ever think about that night? Every day, Brittany admitted. But not with regret anymore. McKenna smiled. Good. Brittany took her hand. I almost lost you because I was scared. You didn't. But I could have. McKenna kissed her knuckles. We both could have. But we chose each other. Brittany looked at her. The woman who'd stayed through the worst. I want forever with you. McKenna's eyes shimmered. Then ask me properly. Brittany laughed, surprised. What? McKenna pulled a small box from her pocket. Inside 2 simple gold bands. Marry me, Brittany Thompson. Not because the world finally accepts us, but because we accept each other. Every messy, beautiful part. Brittany stared. Tears falling freely now. But happy ones. Yes, she whispered. 1,000 times yes. They kissed under the fading light, rings slipping onto fingers like promises kept. The wedding was small, held in a rooftop garden overlooking Puget Sound. 50 guests, friends, chosen family, the Lumiere team. No parents. Brittany's had cut contact years ago when she first came out. McKenna's mom came, teary-eyed and proud. They wore matching white suits, tailored sharp. Brittany's hair swept up, McKenna's loose waves catching the breeze. They said vows they'd written themselves. Honest, raw, full of laughter and tears. I promise to fight for us, Brittany said, voice steady. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. McKenna smiled through tears. And I promise to remind you that you're enough. Always. They exchanged rings, kissed to cheers and confetti. After, they danced under string lights. Brittany held McKenna close, swaying slowly. You happy? McKenna murmured. More than I thought possible, Brittany answered. Later, they slipped away to the edge of the roof, city lights sparkling below. Brittany rested her head on McKenna's shoulder. I used to think love was supposed to be easy. McKenna chuckled. Love is easy. Living in the world isn't. Brittany nodded. But we made it. We did. They stood in silence, breathing the same air. Years later, people would ask how they survived the fallout, the loss, the hate. Brittany would always answer the same. We didn't survive it. We chose each other over it. Every single day. And in the quiet moments, when doubt crept back, she'd look at McKenna, still beautiful, still fierce, and remember the price they'd paid. Not everyone gets a happy ending. Some pay too much. Some break. Some hide forever. But they hadn't. They had chosen truth. And truth, it turned out, was worth everything. Was it worth it?